few discussions among firefighters and fire officers can become as heated as those that debate the best method of attacking fires and structures. This video will examine the three most widely recognized methods of structure fire attack and provide important information to help you decide which is the safest and most effective method for your bread and butter operations.
Until about the end of World War II, most hand-line attacks on structure fires were made using the direct method. Direct fire attack involves applying the water in the form of a solid or straight stream directly onto the burning fuel to cool it and eliminate the production of vapors that burn. In the late 1940s and early 1950s, some fire departments switched from this method to the indirect method of attack. The late Chief Lloyd Lehman of the Parkersburg, West Virginia Fire Department was largely responsible for the development of the indirect method and is credited with its invention. During the Second World War, Lehman served as Commandant of the United States Coast Guard Firefighting School in Baltimore, Maryland. Under his direction, a series of engine room fires aboard a decommissioned Liberty ship were extinguished using indirect attack. It was found that by injecting water fog into the confined machinery spaces of the ship, using nozzles lowered through skylight openings, fuel oil fires were readily extinguished, as the water fog rapidly and efficiently absorbed large quantities of heat, and the expanding steam filled the entire volume of the fire compartment, displacing flammable fire gases and oxygen. To ensure maximum effectiveness of the water fog in absorbing heat and steam and smothering the flames, ventilation was limited, and large openings such as exhaust stacks were sealed prior to fog application. After his wartime service, Lehman applied indirect extinguishment methods to structure firefighting in Parkersburg, West Virginia, where he was chief. After several years of refining his tactics, Lehman presented his findings at the 1950 Fire Department Instructors Conference, or FDIC, in a paper entitled Little Drops of Water. This was followed by a book, Attacking and Extinguishing Interior Fires, published by the NFPA in 1952, and a companion text, Firefighting Tactics, published a year later.
Lehman identified three factors as necessary for success in attacking structure fires using the indirect method.
First, the water fog must be remotely injected into the heated overhead of the fire area from an exterior opening, preferably a window, with the nozzle held in a fixed position. Due to the voluminous quantities of steam created within the fire building, exterior application of water fog is necessary for the safety of the nozzle team. Second, the fire itself must be sufficiently well advanced, with ceiling temperatures of at least 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. This assures rapid conversion of the water fog to steam. Third, the fire building must be buttoned up, with doors and windows largely intact, and additional ventilation of the structure delayed until after the application of water fog is completed. Lehman explained that entry by firefighting crews is only to be permitted once the volume of condensing steam coming from the building diminishes substantially and the officer in charge deems it safe.
Chief Lehman stated that if these conditions are not present, then a direct attack on the burning fuel is preferred. Now let's examine the combination method of attack and the misunderstanding and confusion surrounding it.
The combination attack was developed by Keith Royer and the late Floyd W. Bill Nelson of Iowa State University's Fire Service Extension. During the 1950s and 1960s, Royer and Nelson conducted pioneering research into the behavior of interior fires and ways to improve extinguishment using water. After studying data collected from hundreds of experimental fires, Royer and Nelson proposed modifying Lehman's indirect attack to improve extinguishing efficiency. They called their method the combination attack. Employing a successful combination attack requires knowledge of fire behavior and heat conditions within the fire building. Royer and Nelson stated that managing heat is very important. The objective is to efficiently convert the applied water to steam without overcooling, which would negate subsequent ventilation attempts. Let's examine the steps to be followed in employing a combination attack. First, the nozzle team selects an opening that provides maximum stream coverage of the fire area. Whereas laymen discourage the use of doorways during indirect attack due to the dangers posed by an outflow of scalding steam, either a window or door could be used for stream application during a combination attack. Second, the nozzle is rotated vigorously in a clockwise motion and shut down after no more than 30 seconds to avoid overcooling. The fog stream should be rolled around the room, with the outer edge of the stream in contact with the heated walls and ceiling, while the inner part of the stream cools the hot gases. Royer and Nelson found that when utilizing fog patterns, a clockwise nozzle rotation is required to drive heated gases and flame away from the nozzle team. Third, once the visible fire is blacked out and the steam blanket dissipates, crews may enter the building to perform overhaul. If the fire is located in a windowless room, the combination attack can be mounted from an adjoining room or hallway. But Royer and Nelson cautioned that a very narrow fog stream, preferably a straight stream, should be used to begin the attack, so as not to disrupt the thermal balance, which would reduce visibility and increase the risk of burns from steam.
Contrary to widespread belief, indiscriminate use of fog streams during interior fire attack was never advocated by the inventors of the indirect and combination methods due to the danger of steam burns to the nozzle crew.
Since turnout clothing of the 1950s and 1960s offered little protection from heat and SCBA were not readily available, many fire departments initiated structure fire attacks from the outside. As a result, both the indirect and combination methods of attack were not incompatible with what was already common practice. Fire departments simply began substituting fog streams where once only solid streams were employed.
But as personal protective clothing improved and SCBA use became more common, suppression crews started routinely applying water fog while inside the fire building, and misapplication of the combination attack began.
The combination attack, as it is still taught in many fire schools and tactics manuals, requires that the nozzle team enter the fire building with the nozzle set to at least a 30-degree fog pattern. The nozzle is rotated rapidly clockwise or moved side to side while directed at the ceiling in an attempt to cool the overhead, and if possible, reach the seat of the fire for final extinguishment. Does it work? Yes, particularly in situations where the fire area is small, such as a kitchen or bedroom in a residence, where heat conditions permit a close approach to the fire, and where ventilation is adequate to allow escape of the expanding steam and heated fire gases. But fires and fire conditions are not made to order. Fires sometimes involve large contiguous areas, even in residential buildings. Heat conditions may be severe, preventing a close approach to the seat of the fire, a close approach made necessary by the short reach of the fog stream. And for many reasons, horizontal ventilation opposite the advancing nozzle team is not always performed in an adequate or timely fashion, or worse, is not performed at all. As a result, fire control may be seriously delayed, and burn injuries to the nozzle team become a serious concern. If we were to fight every fire from exterior positions, then the combination attack, or even the indirect attack, might be preferable. However, since an exterior attack often is neither advisable nor feasible, both in terms of firefighting expedience and occupant life safety, most modern fire departments practice some form of aggressive interior attack at structure fires.
Based on the historical evidence, not to mention the painful burns and lost fire buildings resulting from the misuse of water fog on the fire ground, it is the interior direct attack, utilizing a straight or solid stream, that is the safest and most efficient method of attacking interior fires from the inside.
Let's compare a fire attack launched with a fog stream with one using a straight or solid stream and examine what happens to conditions within the fire building. First, the fog stream attack. When water is divided into small droplets, its conversion to steam is very rapid and efficient. But does this rapid conversion to steam necessarily lead to efficient fire extinguishment? The answer is no. While steam creation is necessary for fire control, the goal must be to create the steam at the source of heat production, the burning solid fuels. Steam generation at the fuel-flame interface requires a fire stream capable of reaching the seat of the fire without premature vaporization. Premature vaporization produces excessive quantities of unwanted steam, increases the risk of burn injuries to the nozzle team, and is simply not very efficient from a fire extinguishment standpoint. When a fog stream is directed into the heated overhead, rapid conversion to steam quickly eliminates any visibility and causes disruption of the thermal balance. Instead of the highest temperatures existing in the overhead above the advancing nozzle team, temperatures within the entire volume of the fire compartment will remediate to about 200 degrees Fahrenheit. While 200 degrees Fahrenheit does not seem like an excessively high temperature, it is accompanied by high humidity. Moist air at 200 degrees Fahrenheit simply cannot be tolerated for more than a moment or two, even by firefighters wearing the most advanced protective clothing and while crouching low near the floor. We also know that at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, water expands some 1,700 times in volume as it changes physical state from liquid to vapor. Few of us have been taught, however, that at 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, a ceiling temperature reached in mere minutes at many interior fires, the expansion ratio of water as it converts from liquid to vapor is 4,000 to 1. Without a large channel or opening to remove this superheated steam to the outside, suppression crews will be enveloped in the expanding steam and subjected to extreme discomfort and perhaps severe burns. Fog streams also move large amounts of air, as evidenced by the fact that firefighters often use fog streams to draw lingering products of combustion out window openings after a fire has been controlled. The high pressure zone that exists ahead of all fog patterns can push fire into uninvolved areas, forcing firefighters searching above or opposite the advancing nozzle team to make a hasty exit. The high pressure zone naturally creates a lower pressure zone behind it. This low pressure zone can pull heat and flame toward the nozzle team from above or behind, possibly cutting off the team's retreat. And one more point about fog streams and their use in indirect and combination attack. The inventors of these methods sought to increase our understanding of fire behavior and improve extinguishment techniques. No mention is made in their many published writings about the impact of these fire attack methods on occupant life safety, specifically the effects of steam on trapped victims.
Fog streams inside buildings are more likely to burn you than protect you. Any purported benefits of the fog stream as a protective shield are negated by its potential effects on the nozzle team, other firefighters, and victims. Quickly and efficiently cooling the heated solid fuels and eliminating vapors that burn are the best protection against rollover, flashover, and toxic gas exposure. The key to a successful, hard-hitting interior fire attack with minimal risk of burn injury is a long-reaching, high-volume, straight or solid stream coupled with well-timed, well-placed ventilation.